Hey there, and welcome or welcome back. My name is Jessica. This is I Read to Relax with Jessica. I'm also on Instagram, or I should say Bookstagram, as I Read to Relax. I realized that since I've started doing videos again, I've been really terrible at actually introducing myself, so I thought I would go ahead and do that this time. So, hi! Thanks for coming. I did end up traveling for part of June and did not get to read quite as much as I wanted to, but I'll tell you about what I did get to. So I can't remember if I actually said or not, but I read 8 books in June. So while I have the majority of the books in physical form, I don't have all of them because I did read some ebooks, so I'll put a couple of covers up here when they come up. The very first book that I read in the month of June was actually The Artist and the Dragon by Megan, I think it's Megan Van Dyke. And this one is book 2 in a duology. The Castmere, is it just the Castmere duology? I should have looked that up before I started this video, but I didn't. So anyway, I have not read book 1 of the duology, but I did read book 2, and I really enjoyed it. It was sort of a kind of Phantom of the Opera meets Sleeping Beauty, like gaslight fantasy type. Sorry, we had to pause for a minute because my dog saw a squirrel outside and was whining out the window. The Artist and the Dragon. So this one already established that the characters, the main characters, knew each other from the first book in the duology, but the author was very good at sort of telling you a very loose version of what happened in the first book so that you could sort of jump in with the second book and read it by itself. Sometimes I feel like with a duology or things like that, you don't have enough info and you can't read it by itself. But this one, I really did feel like I got a full story out of book 2 without having read the first one. And I really liked that sort of like Phantom of the Opera vibe, a real tension between the characters, the sort of like, you know, nobody knows the secrets the other is keeping, and they're both secretly obsessed with each other. Like Phantom of the Opera vibe. That was great. So then the next book that I read, I also don't have a copy of right now because I actually gifted it to my dad. So I read And the Ocean Was Our Sky by Patrick. Oh my God, I need to look these things up. It's either Patrick Ness or Patrick Rothfuss, and I think it's Patrick Ness. But anyway, this is a very short, very interesting illustrated book. It is sort of a Moby Dick retelling from the whale's perspective. It was really interesting. It's one of those books that like I won't go back and reread it, but I'm really glad I finally read it. It has been sitting on my shelf for years because the concept was so interesting, and I finally picked it up and read it because I pulled a prompt that it fit. So I'm really excited to get back to doing the TBR jar because I think I'm picking up things that have been just sitting for too long otherwise. But like I said, I liked it so much and I thought my dad would like it, so I gave it to my dad. So he physically has that copy now. But that was book 2. And then the next one I read was this one, Dear Galaxy by Paige Lavoie. And this was such a cute, this was a newer book that I got. I picked it up at one of the independent romance bookstores that I've been to. This one I actually picked up at Montgomery and Taggart in Connecticut. And this one was just super cute. I did a mini vlog of this one, so you can go back and catch like all the comments, but it's got a very 1950s sock hop vibe in outer space. So it's a YA romance, and she gets sent on a scavenger hunt by her secret admirer anonymously, and like they're hopping from planet to planet to go on this scavenger hunt. And there's a couple, like there's a obvious romance interest, and then there's a secret admirer romance interest, and then you're not sure who actually wrote the letters, and then you think you are, but then you're not. And I had so much fun reading this one. It was so cute, and I definitely want to check out more things by this author in the future. So then I decided to sort of switch things up, and I read Treason of Thorns, and this one is by Laura Weymouth. And this is a very cool, like, standalone, which I loved. And it is like a gothic fantasy, which I've really, really figured out that I'm really into, sort of that dark gothic fantasy vibe this year. So this was awesome. And it's about a girl that lives in a world, like a version of England, where there are these great magical houses. There's like 10 of them, and the houses are like animate, and they can do magic. And in the region that they're in, like, their magic basically helps the land to flourish. And so a family will become like the guardian of the house, and they have to basically help channel that magic into the land. And so the houses are under control until they're not, and one of the houses gets destroyed, and then her father gets accused of treason, gets locked in the house, and isn't allowed to help channel the magic, and all kinds of things go awry. And so then her father passes, and now it's her job to either try and bring the house back under control, or they're going to destroy this house. And she just cannot fathom the idea of not having the house. Like, she grew up, and her sole purpose in life is to, like, be the guardian for this house, the keeper. So I really, really liked this one too. After A Study in Drowning, this gave me sort of the same kind of vibes. Not quite as, I mean, A Study in Drowning is still like so far my favorite book of the year, but this was in that same feel, and I loved it. Okay, then I read, because I wanted to do something sort of short time-wise, I read Lore Olympus Volume 1, and this is by Rachel Smith, and this was a webtoon that now has been turned into graphic novels. And I keep trying graphic novels on and off, hoping that I will find something that I just really enjoy. And I had found one a couple years ago that I liked, but I'm just not really a graphic novel reader. It's just not a format that I really enjoy, and I don't like trying to force myself to enjoy it. There's just too many other books that I want to read. So I think this kind of solidified for me that I'm just not a graphic novel reader. So it was good for what it was. It just didn't thrill me. Back into the formats I do enjoy, I read Neverthorn by Shannon Mayer. Now, I actually read this as an e-arc, but it has since come out, and this is the gorgeous special edition that I got from the author from her website. So I just wanted to show off my pretty finished copy, but I really, really enjoyed this one. I already posted a review on my Bookstagram account if you follow me there. But what I really liked about this one, it is about a woman who is just about 30 and magic, and had been a student at a magical university, like this Neverthorn Academy, and actually dropped out, left, because it wasn't working for her, and has been on the streets since, doing some shady things on the streets. But at the start of this book, she is basically blackmailed into going back to the academy, and ends up finding out that she's not alone. Students who also didn't do well at Neverthorn have been brought back, and it turns out that the reason they've been brought back is there's a prophecy that one of them is going to like restore a certain type of magic and essentially defeat the big bad in their wizarding world. So what I really loved was that, again, the character's a little bit older, so it gives a different dimension, even though it's still an academy setting, which I love. The magic is cool. There's a variety of magics. The prophecy is good. There's a twist around the prophecy and her part in it. There's a talking raccoon sidekick. I mean, there was just a bunch of fun things. So I really loved this series starter. Can't wait for the next one. So that was a great read. I think it was my favorite read of the month. And they read 2 more books in the month of June. One was An Academy for Liars by Alexis Henderson. I think it's Alexis Henderson. I really loved one of her other books, and when I realized this one was by her and it's a dark academia, I was like, yeah, I'd like to read that. And it was sitting in my ebook library. And when I said I took a trip, I went to Savannah, Georgia, and I realized that this book is set in Savannah, Georgia. And so I was like, okay, well, now I have to read this on my trip. So this is the book I read while I was physically traveling. And it was excellent. It was really, really great. It was my second favorite book of the month. It really is that dark academia. The woman who is the main character finds out that she can do this certain type of magic called persuasion, and she gets invited to this hidden college where they teach them how to utilize their magic. She's struggling at first and then sort of finds her way, but also discovers that there's like a deeper reason that they brought her there and they're trying to keep her. And it got really deep into like depression and some other mental health issues, as well as like things that can go wrong in relationships or starting relationships. And there was a lot of heaviness in the book, but it was told in a really beautiful way. And like when it ended, it really stuck with me. So I really, really enjoyed that one. And I definitely want to read more from this author because I really like the way she tells the story. So there was that one. And then just before and after my trip, I managed to read Onyx Storm. I had read about 2/3 of this before my trip, but I refused to take this book in my suitcase, so I finished it when I got home. But I had been putting off Onyx Storm since it came out, so a couple months, almost because like the hype got so hyped that I was like, I don't want to deal with it. I don't know how I feel about it. And I'm glad I finally read it. Like, it was very good. I really love this series while I'm reading it. I really get caught up in the story. I think she's got a great writing style and she sucks you in. When I finish each book afterwards, I really enjoyed it, but I didn't like love it the way that I love some other books. So I'm definitely gonna read the next one. I really liked sort of the cliffhanger you get stuck on at the end of this one. But I didn't love it as much as, say, like Neverthorn or An Academy for Liars. So for me, this was like maybe a 4.25 or a 4.5 read, not a 5-star. Like I said, as soon as I actually put it down after reading, I sort of lose some of that oomph that it had. So really, really good, but not great. So that's it. Those are the 8 books. It was a great start to the summer. There was a lot of variety, which I liked. 8 books for June. A lot of them were great reads. Even the ones that I didn't love quite as much, I enjoyed. There wasn't any book I read this month that I didn't like. It just was a case of like some of them really blew me away and some of them were just mid. So yeah, that's it. Thanks for sticking around. If you feel like leaving a comment, let me know what your favorite read in the month of June was, or if you have read any of the books I talked about and really have like a different opinion than me or want to share your opinion, semi-spoiler free, because we don't want to ruin for anybody that hasn't read them yet, but you know, feel free to comment. Bye!